Hi everybody, it's Amy from Savor, Salvage, and Scent. Welcome to my channel. It focuses mostly on fragrance, collecting, DIY, and culinary adventures. So I hope you'll subscribe and stay connected. I thought during these bizarro, vulnerable, but hopeful times, it might be neat to focus on things that keep us resilient or that have stayed resilient or stood the test of time over the years. So the first thing that I'm going to do is talk about some of the oldest perfumes or fragrances in my collection. It's really something to think that a fragrance could last over even a few years, just like home trends or fashion or food. The fragrance community goes through trends and things come and go. It's currently anywhere between a $30 and $40 billion market, the fragrance community, and somewhere between 100 and 200 fragrances are created every year. So for something to last 10 years, let alone hundreds of years, is a major accomplishment and says a lot for the quality of what it is. So the first thing that I thought that I would review and talk about is the oldest cologne in my collection, which is 4711. A lot of you might be familiar with it. It's over 200 years old. It's been in production. It was first created in 1792 by a man named, I believe, Wilhelm Muelhens. I hope I'm right. It was created really as a tonic, or both an internal and external kind of like medicinal water. It was something that they would drink and something that they would kind of splash for a mood lift. During the French occupation, so early 1800s, they reordered the number of the buildings, and the creator's building was numbered 4711, and so that's the name that has stuck all this time. In 1810, Napoleon demanded or decreed that any medicines, that their recipes be shared, and so the creator didn't want to do that. So the way that he got around that was to say, well, it's purely a fragrance, so it's been marketed as a fragrance since. So again, since the early 1800s. The bottle has stayed virtually the same that whole time. It's funny, the reviews are really mixed in the fragrance community. Some people love it, some people hate it. I think it's really cool. Beautiful, like teal and gold. And one of the things that I think is really cool too is just like these little red accents, so you can see the number of the cologne or the building, 4711 on here, little red accent. I think it's a real cool bottle. This is a 3.3 ounce or 200 milliliter. Another reason this has stood, I'm sure, the test of time is it is dirt cheap. This, I think I paid $12 for this. And in a way, it's probably a good thing that it's inexpensive, because you really have to use this liberally. Like, I know people that reapply it many times during the day. It is not a spray. It's kind of like a dab or a splash bottle. So you can kind of, do this. Or I've known people that use it like literally as an aftershave, like pour it into the hand, splash, or use it, especially in the warmer months, put it liberally on a handkerchief, and then to kind of like make yourself cool down. I've seen older folks use it on like their grandchildren, aunties or uncles, to put it on and cool the kids down. And it's nostalgic for that reason. I think a lot of us, especially with German background, we know people that have had this in their, on their toiletries and on their vanity for years. It only got my attention recently because I heard that it had Neroli in it. So we'll get to that in a minute. So, so what are the notes? Why do we think this stands the test of time, and what is the experience that you're going to get from this? So if you look online to see what the notes are, the top notes are mostly like bitter orange, bergamot, things that you get right out of the bottle, really lifting, like lemon. The middle notes are mostly florals, and I think a little bit of melon, so rose, jasmine, things like that. And then the base notes that ground it a little are things like, I believe, vetiver, oak moss, I think cedar, and that really just kind of gives it an earthy feel. So like, what do you experience right out of the bottle? Oh my gosh, you guys, it's just so good. You gotta get it. It is so bright and mood lifting, and I think that's one of the reasons it's really stood the test of time, is like, it feels, you know that scent that you get when, I think it's like early to midsummer, where you can smell mock orange or you can smell blooming citrus trees, when you can literally smell fresh flower in the air. That is what it smells like. It smells like a combination of those blooming trees and a little bit of earthiness in it. So it's just bright. It is a total mood lifter. It makes you just feel hopeful. It kind of wakes you up. It's just wonderful. So I would love to know more about you. Do any of you own this? Has anyone in your family owned it? I would love to know your impressions of it. You know, one of the things that's wild to me is most of us who collect fragrance love Tom Ford and Tom Ford fragrances. He has one called Neroli Portofino that's $350 for the same size bottle. I think they're very similar. I would love to know if you think they're similar, what your impressions are. And lastly, I would love to know during these weirdo times, what are the fragrances in your collection that make you feel hopeful, that lift your mood, that have stood the test of time? I would love for you to comment in the comments below and tell me that and share. And I hope again you'll subscribe, and I look forward to sharing some more of the fragrances that have stood the test of time in my collection over the next few weeks. Thanks a lot. Have a great day, everybody.